Welcome, everyone, to the Spiritual Freedom Support Call number 23. Just so our new people here know, we do record these calls, so just so you're aware, it will be sent out tomorrow for other people to listen to who aren't able to join. So, obviously, I'm Brandon, and we have Christine here.
Hi.
And Justin's with us. How are you doing, Justin?
I'm fine. How about you?
Good. Very well, actually. Today's a good day. How's everyone else doing? Have a good week?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
That's good. So let's begin. Let's see. I have some specific topics I want to talk about later. Any specific law of attraction or other, psychic or anything else questions that anyone might happen to have? This is the time to ask. Okay.
Okay.
No, I have some specific stuff. I like to make sure we don't have any questions to begin with. So, okay. Yeah, go for it.
I do have one.
Okay.
And I seem to be manifesting things, but they're slightly off, and I don't end up with the desired result.
Can you explain a little?
And well, I was trying to manifest a bunch of money. I was thinking along the lines of lotto.
Right.
And out of the blue, we got an offer on a family house that was moving. So it was actually $2 million.
Wow.
And I thought, hey, this is it. This is how the universe has brought it to me.
Uh-huh.
All of us are sort of asset rich and cash poor and struggling quite a bit at the moment.
Right.
But what's actually happened is it's in a family trust, 4 of us, and we need to vote to decide what to do with everything. And 3 to 1 decided that they wanted to reinvest.
Oh, and you were the one, right?
Yeah. I wanted the cash.
Right.
And I would have shared it.
Sure.
Whenever I was manifesting, it was to be shared amongst the whole family.
Right.
But I did think I'd get some cash out of it.
Right. Sure. Yeah. Well.
And I've had other things like that are sort of, something happens and things change, but it's almost, it's almost there, but not quite.
Yeah, that's actually very, very common. And and we'll kind of debug it a little bit, but what I'm guessing, you're really good at getting your energy pretty aligned with the goal. So you can imagine it, you can visualize it, you can feel it, and you're pretty good at getting almost there, right? So the universe will give you the sign. It'll give you, oh, here's an opportunity. Here's a potential opportunity for this to happen. And then when it really comes down to it, either your emotions kind of freak out a little, or you can't you get too attached. You know what I mean? And that will completely ruin it. do you get kind of attached to the outcome once it starts getting closer? Like, oh, come on, I really want this to work out.
I know with the house that I was just totally blown away.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there was. I don't think that I thought of anything negative. It never crossed my mind that we wouldn't all choose to take it as an out of the financial things that are going on at the moment.
Right.
It came as a real surprise to me that it didn't work out how I had expected.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of the same with the car. I've got a car that I absolutely love, but it's a 2001. It's done over 250,000 Ks. Oh, that's probably about 155 miles.
Right.
And I started thinking, wouldn't it be nice if I could get a new car
Right.
or a new second-hand car? And since then, I've had to spend something like 2,000 New Zealand dollars
Yeah.
on repairs on this car.
Right.
Every time I turn around, the computer's got to be redone, or the coils have got to
Hmm.
be redone, or the suspension has got to be redone. It was perfect up until I
Yeah.
started thinking it's
That's
time to
yeah.
change my car.
And you know why that is because when you're not focused on a situation, the energy just sort of hums along as it is. You're at the status quo, everything's great, and this is why this is why it's kind of easier with the law of attraction to start out with simple stuff and then to progressively build up, because the moment you turn your focus on it, all of your hidden resistance you didn't even know existed will come up to the surface. Like, you don't have to tell me, publicly here, but just think about it with your family and the investment. What limiting beliefs did that bring up? What, anger, what frustration, or what disappointment, or what thoughts did that bring up that's probably been hidden for a while, that probably had other outlets before the situation? I'm guessing that probably triggered some long-standing hidden resistance that really didn't bother you actively until you put your attention there. Do you see what I mean?
I am I'm trying to remember exactly because obviously thoughts are fleeting,
Right.
but I I actually thought, uh, hey, this was just absolutely fantastic.
Right.
This manifestation stuff is so much better than just finding a car park and having the lights go green.
Yeah.
Um, um, I was really thrilled with it all. I honestly was so surprised that it didn't
Yeah.
go
But,
through
but when that did
the whole way.
happen, what did it trigger in you? What thoughts, what beliefs did it trigger in you when it actually happened? When it didn't go the way you wanted it to go?
Oh, I guess that I probably was thinking, hey, that would have been so handy. I really needed that money.
Hmm.
I think that, yeah,
Right.
you're right, actually.
Yeah. That's what happens.
That
So yeah.
brought up lack.
Wait, what did you say? You started thinking what?
How much you needed that
Um,
money?
yeah,
Right.
how
How
much
much
I,
you needed that money?
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. So sometimes a situation, and I've not, thankfully, not had this happen too much to me, but I've heard of it happening and I know why it happens. Sometimes a situation will get worse when you start trying to manifest a better result in it. Because, like I said, before you turn your attention to it, it's like, you don't really think about it. So everything's great, everything's going the way, maybe not wonderful, but everything is the way it is. It's the status quo, everything's comfortable. And then you turn your focus to it, and then all the resistance is triggered, all your fears are triggered, um, all that kind of stuff. And we don't know how to deal with that sometimes, so it gets worse, because then you say, oh my gosh, what happened here, and then you obsess about it, and then it gets worse. So that's my guess is, because the energy of manifestation, of creation, of what they call it assimilation, is totally different from the energy of completion and accomplishment. So you get almost there, like you said, you get almost there, and then at the last moment it's like, no, because all this other stuff comes up, right? Yeah. So
this
that,
this is really making my mind race off on other tracks now.
yeah,
Thank you.
no problem. No, it's a really good question because it's so common, and sometimes I've heard, like I said, I've heard of that happening where someone will focus on a situation that they really haven't paid much attention to, and then they actually inflame it because it's like, yeah, it's getting worse now because I had all this stuff that was hidden, and that that's all the subconscious, right? People who say the subconscious mind doesn't count, yeah, it does because that's that's where it comes in because the subconscious mind, the moment you try to change things, it fights back. If you haven't, go read my post about subconscious structures. It was from last Thursday or Friday, and the end of last week, either case. But and I talk about exactly this. Your subconscious structures, when you try to change things, they'll fight back, they'll push back. And that's kind of what you're
Yeah.
experiencing. So you want more money, your subconscious says, no. you know, it's not happening right now, right? Especially in the.
It's not even
Yeah.
it's not even a case of feeling whether you deserve it or not.
No, it's not. It's just beliefs.
Yeah, it's sort of there've been other things that have come right out of left field that hasn't even crossed my mind that um, that happen, and I'm sort of a little bit lost. I'm sure that my subconscious mind isn't thinking, "Oh, what if they cut those trees down?"
Right.
Um, like I came back from work one day, and the neighbour had cut all the trees out of their backyard.
Hmm.
So now I see hundreds of houses, whereas before it was just this lovely green
Hmm.
bush. And whenever I'd seen that bush, um, I was thinking, oh, that's so gorgeous. It's so lovely to have that.
Right.
Never crossed my mind that they would cut them down.
No, yeah, and that's the thing. Manifestation doesn't go by the events that happen like out there in current reality. What it goes by is your emotion. Your emotion is the the catalyst behind manifestation. So it's not your subconscious mind isn't literally thinking, what if we cut down some trees and then what? It's not. You don't have to literally consider actually the manifestation itself for it to happen. Especially in the case of negative manifestations, what it is what emotion did that trigger inside of you? So did that trigger this is not such a beautiful environment anymore? You know what I mean? Or frustration with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
neighbors, or that if you really look for it, that existed before the event happened, and you can go try to find that, but that existed in some way. It was latent, but it was triggered by something, but it was latent where you had those emotions before the event happened, or else the event couldn't have happened, right? And what
isn't
the
it because time is not real?
right, well, what it
Uh,
is.
who
Go ahead,
cut?
Justin.
Who? Somebody cut. Who cut the trees down? Was it you or the
The
neighbor? The
neighbors,
neighbor cut the trees down.
right,
The neighbours did, yeah. They were the neighbours' trees, but they were right on my boundary.
right.
Oh, they were not their trees. They were. That's why I was trying to go. Wait a minute. Those were your.
No,
Okay, so those are your trees.
They
no,
were right in
no,
the
they were
boundary.
not my trees.
They were
They
in the
Right
they
on the
boundary.
were
boundary.
inside their boundary,
Right.
but
But they changed the
that
view.
was that's all I could see,
Right.
from my deck. That was
Right.
such a gorgeous view.
I
Right.
guess they manifested them down too. I guess they wanted them down.
Yeah. Well, they
I
cut
guess
the
you
views.
did.
Right. So if you look at it, you'll find the root of those emotions prior to the event, because again, what it is that attracts these events is emotions. That's the attractor, you know. And so when you have those emotions, then it attracts events that are like those emotions that feel the same way in bigger ways because you either didn't pay attention to it to heal it or whatever. But it'll happen in bigger ways and trigger a bigger version of that emotion. So if it's whatever that emotion is, once the event happens, it'll get bigger, and then you really have to take care of it, or else it'll get bigger again. So it's not the event itself that your subconscious mind dwells on; it's the emotion, and then the universe goes out and brings an event that's like that emotion to make it even bigger.
So am I right in clumping these all together as having the same basic root? All of these different things that have happened
Hmm.
Um, is that some kind of subconscious resistance that I've
Oh,
got
for
in there?
sure. Yes, definitely. What it's how long have you been practicing the law of attraction?
About 3 years.
Okay, and have you? How long have these events been going on for?
Probably the last couple of years.
Okay, so about the same, right? So, you know, the law of attraction is somewhat like a chainsaw, if you will. Sorry for the weird metaphor, but it can be really useful in certain circumstances, but it can also cut your hand off, you know? I mean, right? I mean, if if you don't know how to wield it, this is actually funny because I was Justin, you'll laugh at this. I was reading because I do like witchcraft and magic and stuff, which is another form of law of attraction. And I was reading an article earlier, and the lady in the article was saying you have to be really careful with magic. It can be really
You
dangerous if
didn't
you're
tell me this.
yeah, it can be really dangerous if you're not careful. And I'm thinking it's not that dangerous. And then you come and tell me of this horror story. Oh yeah, it is pretty dangerous, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know, especially if you don't start small, and if you don't know how to deal with resistance, it can make a mess of things. It absolutely can, and it's not. A lot of people play with this stuff without really knowing what to do. They just think, well, if I just feel good about this thing, and that's what you did, right? You just felt good about it and thought about and visualized it, and it started to come, and then you just don't know what to do with that resistance. Is the thing, right?
Um, if I have resistance against something, if I can identify that and I feel it, or a thought crosses my mind, I use tapping. Um,
Okay.
but I just don't. I can't really figure what I've done wrong with the bigger things that have gone wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of thinking there is no resistance, but
Oh, but there
obviously
is.
there is. It's
Oh, but there
really well
is.
hidden.
Yeah. Oh, but there is. Yeah. And, and and the great thing about the universe is it is really a wonderful tool for finding resistance, because if you don't see it right away,
It will show you.
it'll show you. It'll bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
It'll bring it right out of your subconscious for you to see. So it's really not that hidden. I mean, yes, it is at first, but after the stuff happens, uh, go and consider your thoughts. Go through your thoughts at the time, your emotions, your beliefs that came up. Evaluate them and see what they were telling you, because that's your resistance. That's what is blocking the path. So here's what happens basically. You have a big goal, and so you started with
Yeah.
these huge goals. I want, lottery win, I want all this money, I want a new car, and you're simply not ready for it. So the bigger. I just wrote about ultimate level goals today. Well, yesterday, but posted today. And the bigger the gap between where you are and where you want to be, the more your subconscious structures are going to push back. So your subconscious structure is pushed back in a big way, and that's what happened. But the good news is now you know what happened, why it happened, and how to take care of it. Hopefully, you know.
Mm.
I've talked lots about how to take care of resistance, but you you don't want to run away from it. That's the last thing you want to do. But
Well,
yeah,
I did find the easy stuff really easy. Like the things you can
small stuff.
start with.
Right.
Um, no problem at all.
Good.
Even when I haven't seen a butterfly for a month,
Sure.
I can say I want to see a butterfly today, and I do. Um,
Right.
but parking spaces, that kind of thing. I just wanted to step it up, but um, I've stirred up something, all right.
Right. Well, So let me introduce you real quick. I don't know how familiar you are with my writings, but I talk about three levels of goals, right?
Yeah, I did read that one.
Okay, so there's current level goals, which you're good at. You know, butterflies, all that kind of that's a current level goal. You have no resistance. Then there's next level goals, which is sort of between what you've succeeded at and the stuff you're talking about here that absolutely ripped you apart. Next level goals are the stuff that you can believe in, but it's sort of a stretch. Okay? And it's not a huge change from where you are now. It's just enough of a change that it's better, but it's not a massive change. It's not a total complete like $2 million would be a total complete change, right?
Yeah,
That's an ultimate level goal. An ultimate level goal is that it's that big whopper of a goal. It's like um, this is going to change everything. That's that you want to tackle indirectly through a series of next level goals. So you're good at the first level. You're good at the stuff that doesn't have any resistance. So you know the basics, you know. But the thing is that it's a different process required for each level. So a next level goal has a totally different process from a current level goal, and an ultimate level goal has a totally different process from a next level goal. Because it's just different things. It's different types of manifestations. So um, what I would suggest, take something not so big, but also that's inspiring to you, and work towards it with the methods I talk about. You know, and I have some courses on it. I don't know if you've seen those, but I also write about my methods. But you know, work on that relatively big goal and move towards it and achieve it, and that'll help you build confidence. And usually, a next level goal you can achieve within 1 to 3 months is usually the time frame. Maybe a couple weeks at at the soonest, but 1 to 3 months is usually the time frame for a next level goal. Um, and it's just going to have enough resistance, but it's such that if you even if you really fail at working through the resistance, it's not going to ruin things for you. You know, it's not going to totally ruin your day, so to speak. It's going to hurt, but it's not going to really rip you apart in that way, like the other goals have. Does that make sense?
right. Yes,
Right.
yes. Because it kind of got to the point where I was thinking, I cannot afford to keep doing this.
Right.
Throwing money at the car and that
Exactly.
kind of thing.
Well,
It's costing.
what I would do, back off on that goal a little bit because you just don't have the you need to train more with working with resistance. So back off.
Yeah,
I guarantee if you back off on it a little bit, those things will stop. Okay,
yeah,
because you're not giving the focus to them anymore. Some things might change for the better because you have done some work. So you might have a good improvement. You know, your car will start working better. You might even get the new one. I don't know. It depends how much inner work you've done. But I guarantee those problems will stop if you back off from that goal a little bit. Choose something that's, if it goes wrong, it's not so scary, and but still a bit of a stretch, and work towards that, and then just build confidence. It's like you sort of, a baby who just learns how to walk. He's not going to go out and try to run a marathon next, and that's sort of what you're trying to do. You're really good at walking, and then you're trying to go out and run a marathon. You got to learn how to run, and like you got to train for it, and work yourself up to that level. But if you just run up to that level, you're really going to hurt yourself, and that's really what you're doing. So
right,
take the next step. Don't rush this, and it won't hurt so much, and you'll get better at working with resistance. Resistance is really your friend if it's in a way that's not so big, and in your face. And it won't be if you choose a goal that's a lot easier, a lot smaller. Not so small that it's boring and you can get in like 2 days, but also not so big that if when the resistance comes up, because it will, that it's going to just ruin things for you, right? Cost you lots and thousands of dollars, literally. You know,
right.
so back off on the car and then choose something a bit smaller. That doesn't feel so scary to you.
That sounds an excellent plan. Thank you.
No problem. I don't want you to keep having to spend thousands of dollars. It's so expensive. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I'd
definitely.
rather be able to pay the power bill and the water bill.
Yeah. Instead of winning the millions, you're kind of
What
losing the thousands, so you don't want that to
what kind of
happen.
car was this again?
Say again?
What kind of car was this? A new car or a used car?
Uh, uh, my car is a used car, and
That's the
I'd
one
only,
that you
I'd only buy a used car. I
Right,
wouldn't. I don't believe in spending a lot of money
right,
on a vehicle that depreciates.
right.
Man, how does
Yes,
that? Trying to figure out what resistance you'd have for you to a used car to make you do
exactly.
that.
I know. I,
I've
and
never even heard of that before.
I haven't identified it at all. I can't, like even actually sitting there and thinking, what is going on here? I don't know what the
I
message is.
Hmm. What?
I had somebody. I know somebody that said once they would always have just enough money to get their car fixed,
Yeah,
and then when their car worked for a while and they built up a little money, they would get
then it
nervous,
gets. Yep,
and their car would break, and they would have just enough money to get their car fixed.
yep, yep. That was not with cars because I'm visually impaired, but excuse my cuckoo clock for the new people here. But with money in general, I had that where I had just enough money to pay all the bills and a few nice things for us, not enough to really start building a nice cushion and really getting comfortable. And that happened really until I chose to stop doing it that way. Right?
Seconds and inches is kind of cool, though. You
I'm
got to
sorry.
admit.
What's that?
But seconds and inches is kind of cool, though.
Right.
You got to admit.
Right.
There's a lot of photo finishes sliding in safe and just desperate like gambles that pay off at the
Oh, I
last
know.
second.
Oh, I know.
Great
And that,
stories
and
to
that
tell.
happens
I've
all
been
the
through
time.
it too.
But it's also extremely stressful.
You guys are just adrenaline junkies.
Yeah, I know. It's extremely stressful too, though.
What
It's
is?
having things work out
Yes,
at the
it
last
is.
moment.
No.
It's like, yeah,
No
no.
thanks.
But anyway, so what? We'll debug this for a couple more minutes just to kind of give you a clue. Um,
I don't want to chew up everybody's time.
no, it's fine. So when you think about the new car, be honest with yourself. Like, really put yourself in that place of like in the process of getting the new car. What thoughts, both positive and negative, come up as you do that?
Well, probably that I can't actually afford a new car.
Mm,
I don't have any spare cash at
okay.
all. I'm working at the same level that you were before you made it better. That
Right.
I have enough to pay the bills,
Hmm.
but um, what comes in goes out. So buying anything extra
Right.
is a push.
Right. And that's like I said. That's how it was for me until and I don't mean to like to undervalue the what happened or but really it was just I chose to stop doing it that way. I chose for things to get better, and it did. But it takes a huge amount of control, and that's why I do. If you've hung around my site for a while, I do law of attraction a completely different way. I don't believe in the just feel good and everything you want will come. And you've seen it doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't do it that way. It does take. I'm not gonna, when I say effort, I don't mean physical effort. Like you have to go out there. That might be part of it, but it takes inner work, inner effort, and it does take a lot of working through that resistance and detaching from your old stories. So it sounds like and this is so common. Also, you have a I can't afford it story, and what a I
yeah.
can't what a I can't afford it story will do is it'll make sure that no matter what happens, you won't be able to afford it. So you might get $10,000, and I guarantee it's something, a big bill will. Anyone else ever experience this? You get a big windfall, and then almost right away, either something breaks, or an unexpected bill comes, or something happens that you have to spend almost all of it, and it's gone
Yeah,
almost as quickly as it comes, right?
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's why. Because you have this I can't afford it story. So your I can't afford it story is really good at perpetuating itself. That's what your stories do. They perpetuate themselves. So you get this big windfall in, and your I can't afford it story says, I can't afford it, so that has to go. Right? And yeah, it's great you had the money for that emergency and all, but now you're back to where you started. So you have to get rid of the I can't afford it story. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah,
So
because that's what
yeah,
happened with the car. I did actually have um, some money that
right,
I could have put towards a new car, and
right.
virtually as I was thinking, like I should change the car now.
Mm.
It cost me almost exactly the same amount that I had
Uh-huh. Yep.
to
That's
have
your
to
story.
have the computer reprogrammed on it.
Yeah. Isn't your subconscious mind a great thing? That's
Oh, that's so clever.
Mhm.
it's a great thing, right? I mean, when it's working in your favor, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, it will line up events like you wouldn't believe in your favor. But
Mhm.
when it's programmed, basically what you told your subconscious mind is, "Hey, subconscious mind, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I can't afford it." And it says, "Oh, okay, I can't. I get it. I can't afford it." There's that program. So it's automated now. So anytime new money comes in, the subconscious, oh no, I can't afford. I can't afford new things. So that money has to go. So here comes an unexpected bill. Here comes something that breaks. Whatever, right? That's the that's how the
That's
system
what I've got to
works.
work on.
I'm sorry.
That's what I've got to work on.
Yes. So work on that story. And really, what you do, I'm trying to think of some good posts I've had. Read my posts on practicing how to practice non-attachment is really a good post
On it.
on this. How to
Yeah.
practice non-attachment, because you have to stop identifying with the story. You have to stop saying this is my story, um, and this is true for me, and all that kind of stuff. You just have to that story is basically energy that's stuck in your system. You have to let that story flow through and let it. Once it flows through your energy system, it'll be gone. But what happens? You emotionally react to the story, because every time you think of the story, you feel frustrated, you feel poor, you feel stuck, and those feelings will perpetuate the story, because your subconscious mind acts on emotion. So every time you feel an emotion about that story, you're telling your subconscious mind, "Yep, that's true. Yep, that's true. Yep, that's true." If you revoke your emotional investment in the story and stop reacting to it, and when your subconscious mind says, "Oh, I can't afford it," and you say, "That's just a thought that's in my head. I don't have to react to that," then it'll try to get you to believe it. But if you just revoke your emotional investment in that story, it'll fade. I call it starving the manifestation, starving the negative manifestation. It'll fade, and pretty
Yeah, yeah,
soon,
I read that one too.
right? Pretty soon it'll
Um,
get weaker.
I think that what happens is that these thoughts come and go
Yes.
so quickly
Sure.
that um, maybe they're happening without me even realizing that they're coming and going.
Right. And so what you do for that is that's why you spend time every day meditating, and
Right.
you purposely bring up, I'm not saying bring up the resistance, but bring up a goal that will trigger the resistance. So bring up that car, or bring up, actually I said to start with something smaller, bring up a smaller goal that would still trigger that story. And once because anytime you think of a goal that is in conflict, in contradiction to one of your subconscious stories, the story has to come up to the surface. Because your subconscious mind saying, no, I can't do that because here's the story that I'm holding on to. So once the story comes up, then you that's when you say, oh, look, a story. And I'm not going to give you my emotions. I'm not going to give you my emotional investment. I'm revoking that right now. And so deliberately doing that in a time of meditation, in a time of calm, that's sort of the best way, the best time to do that. Because like you said, throughout the day, it comes and goes, and it's sort of hard to do that. But if you do it in a controlled environment, sort of like a science experiment, if you do it in a controlled environment and you know, in a way where you're already kind of in a meditative state, so you're not really reactive, that will weaken it a lot. And it won't just happen once; it'll take several times, but it'll weaken it significantly. Does that make sense?
Um, yes, it does. Is that what you're talking about when you talk about the 0 point?
Yeah, the zero state. Yeah, that's
Is meditation is actually being in that kind of meditative state.
right. And it doesn't always have to be through meditation, but yeah, the zero state is your natural still point. It's like your point of stillness, your point of calm, your point of peace. Where I compared it. If you listen to my podcast, Co-Create Your Life, episode number 11, we talked about like the wheel, and it's the hub of the wheel. You're in the center where there's no movement. Everything's moving around you, but in the middle, it's still, right?
Right.
So that's the zero state. It's that center point where everything else is moving, but that's not. That's still. It's always still. That's the zero state.
Right. Okay. I think I have listened to that podcast. Um, I've read so much of your stuff since I came across the site that I'm now getting confused on the titles. But
I know there's so much. I write a lot.
it resonates. It's just like I felt that I was somehow missing the point, and now you've given me so much more to
Oh, good.
um,
Yeah,
consider.
it's all. I mean, it's all there, but it's hard to put it together sometimes without really going through it in your own situation and putting it all together. And so I'm glad we were able to do
No,
that. Yeah.
I think that's a major step. Is
Mhm.
actually not focusing on the resistance, but looking for it.
Right. Right. Yeah. Digging it up with your goals and letting it come and letting it go.
So if it does float in and out while I'm doing the dishes and I'm looking for it, it might actually stay long enough for me to think, ooh, there it is. I've got to
Right.
work on that.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. And then you just sort of, okay, there it is, and I'm not going to react to it, and just you have control over your emotions. You have control over what you react to, and we don't realize that, but that's where our ultimate creative control is. Is in what we choose to react to, and that's so important. A lot of people undervalue that, but what you choose to react to. What was that book? In the book I just read, Moving Through Parallel Worlds to Achieve Your Dreams, he said, whatever we focus on through the lens of emotion expands. So, whatever you react to perpetuates. You perpetuate it. You make it bigger. You expand it, and that's our power. And it's our power to do that for negative things or for positive things. That's our power. And I was actually going to talk about that a little bit later today, but we have all these stories, these ideas flitting by our consciousness all the time, and we have that power. Most of us will just cling on to each one. We believe each and every thought that comes up. Okay, so I can't afford it. Oh, okay, that's true. I feel bad about that. And then another thought will come up, something else and something else, something else, and we believe all of them. But what you choose to react to, what you choose to believe in, that's your power. And whatever you choose to believe in, you're going to expand it. And the other stuff, you want to let just float by. You don't want to believe it. You don't want to put your focus on that emotionally. That's That's the creative power you have. That's so important. That's like the first LOA 101. That's the first thing you want to do is control where your belief, where your emotions are going.
So it seems like I read somewhere where you said it's not important to be, happy, shiny puppy all the time.
Exactly.
Uh, the Abraham idea of being in vortex all the time.
Right.
But maybe just like having a calm
Exactly.
non-reaction
Right.
to
That's
things
yeah.
you don't want.
And that's what the awakened masters do. You see like the spiritual masters out there who have awakened. Like they're not bouncing off the walls all the time. They're not like jumping for joy all the time. They're not in bliss. They're just in calm. They might meditate a lot or they whatever. I mean, whatever it is for them, it doesn't matter. But they're in this calm stillness. That's your ultimate state of centeredness. That's really what you're looking for, not this blissed out, joyful. That's great, but it'll come and go. Don't expect it to stay all day. It's not gonna stay. It's gonna come and go, right? So yeah, it's that stillness, that centered, calm, still place. That's really your center of power for creation. And there's nothing more important than
Yeah.
that.
Mm.
So I hope
It
that
makes
helps.
so much more sense than what I was struggling with before, actually.
Yeah,
Because I don't believe being, shiny, bouncy, off the walls all the time
right,
either.
right. It's all
It
natural. It's all
seems really
natural.
fake.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah,
Emotions definitely do come and go, and that's a good thing when it's something that you don't like.
exactly.
But you never actually, you get something that you've been wanting for a long time, and um, that joy in that thing often doesn't last very long at
No, it
all. I
doesn't.
don't even.
It's that day after Christmas syndrome. You ever have?
Oh my god.
Yeah, Christmas is all. Oh, I got all these wonderful things, and then the next day it's like everything's in the corner, and it's whatever. you know,
Is that all there is?
Yeah, is that all there is? Come on. and the risk, as law of attraction practitioners or as magical practitioners, is getting addicted to that next new thing phenomenon,
I know.
right? Where, oh, what can I open next? What can I open next? But it's like, no, it's the space between that you're looking for. The
Yeah.
new stuff's great when it comes, but it's not. You're not going to get wonderful new things every moment of every day. I'm sorry. That's life is about flow, about balance, light and dark. Giving and taking. So you're going to have highs and lows. That's life. But when you find the center, that's where everything really balances out, and you find you can't be moved from that place, and that's happiness right there. That's peace, lasting. So that's very important, I think. So any other questions about any of that?
No, no, thank you. You've given me so much food for thought. I'll have to,
Wonderful.
Hey,
I'll have kind of take that all in
Yes.
for a while.
Sure, no problem. I'm glad I helped. Anyone else? Other questions about all this stuff, or anything at all? Other questions that people might have?
I, I have a question.
Sure, Ruma, I think it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Um. So my question is along the same line as hers, but maybe like a step further.
Okay.
So with me, um, I'm having concerns with resistance as well, but it's more so on the line of um, being able to consistently
hmm
um, like be one with the resistance. So for example, if something happens and I say, or if a story come up, I'll tell myself, thank you for that thought, but it doesn't serve me. And then
hmm
I'll try to move on with whatever I'm doing. So whenever, something comes up that's a story or a thought that considered resistance, I get frustrated with consistently having to say that over and over again.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay, so if resistance is important, and I consistently, try to become one with it, it's like, okay, when is this situation going to end? 'Cause, you know what I mean? Like it's frustrating having
Right.
to do it over and over.
And I want to clarify. So basically, your question is you keep allowing the resistance, but the resistance doesn't really end, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So like the situation that I want to disappear or change, it's still there no
It's
matter
not
how
changing.
much I try to ignore it or try to, be one with the resistance or,
Well, and that's. I want to clarify that first. I'm not saying to be one with the resistance. I'm just saying not to give it your emotional reaction. And that is a difference. I'm not saying to try to unite yourself with the resistance or anything like that. It's just sort of being at the center while the resistance flows over you and through you, and not letting it stick to you, not letting it get stuck in your energy system. Do you know what I mean? Do you see that difference?
yeah, I see the
I
difference.
actually did that today.
What's that?
I did
Just
that. I didn't want to. You were you and PK were flowing, so I didn't
oh
go
yeah,
into this much. But but I did want to say today I kept thinking of some of the resistance that was coming up at work about stuff,
yeah,
and I was very aware of it.
yeah.
And I would literally just breathe in and breathe out
Hmm.
and just let it flow through like mindfulness. And I
Right.
kept doing that. And finally, uh, I had, I got like some spiritual answers today.
That's awesome.
So, but I only got them because I was focused on it because I've had to do resistance training a good bit,
Right.
for resistance, you know, not reacting a good bit recently. So I've been doing it and it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Uh,
that works. You'll get answers afterwards. And you'll get
right.
your movement.
Ruma, are you looking for resistance? That's a very
Am
important
I look?
question. Are you looking for resistance? Are you trying to uncover it? Are you trying to go out and seek it? Are you trying to look for it to kind of kill it off?
Well, I do know because the situation that I'm referring to, it involves other people or another person, and it's
Okay.
been happening for like a long time now.
Okay.
I feel like I look for, I guess, that I guess particular like a negative sign from that person, or I look for something to happen, maybe in that way. But I could maybe subconsciously think about, looking for stories or resistance.
Right, because it's a very subtle difference between you know, am I looking to kill off this resistance so I can get my manifestation, or
Mm,
or am I focusing on my manifestation and just dealing with whatever resistance comes up and not having the resistance mindset? That's the really important thing. So you want to work on embodying the goal, embodying the manifestation, and going there as much as you can. And then if and when the resistance comes up, that's okay. And you don't unite with it, you don't give it focus, you don't give it attention, you just let it flow through you and not give it your emotional reaction. It's just a non-reaction. That's really the best word I can think of for it. It's not a getting rid of, it's not a unification, a oneness, it's just a non-reaction. You know, um, you just don't even do anything with it, and you just let it go. It's not even ignoring. Ignoring, it's sort of doing something with it. It's like, oh, there's resistance, we're going to ignore it. It's just
yeah,
non-reaction. It's just non-reaction. Ignoring doesn't work for me. I don't know. But non-reaction, where you acknowledge, okay, it's there, but I'm still going to go in my manifestation and feel good about it, and I'm not going to react to this other stuff over here. I'm not even going to look at it. I'm not going to react. So my guess is, and sometimes it's really subtle, my guess is that as the stuff comes up, you have to watch out for the desperation vibration. You have to watch out for, and I felt that a little bit as you were talking about it. When's it going to end so I can actually get this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's what I felt, and you don't want that. You
They'll
want
keep pulling it up if you do that.
exactly. So don't go out. So sometimes we can fall into this thing of I'm going to go out and look for every last every last string of resistance and cut it out and pull it up by the roots and kind of go on this resistance crusade, so to speak, within our own subconscious minds, and that just sort of perpetuates it. So it's a very subtle thing. So if I'm thinking about a manifestation, and actually I'm going to talk about an example in a moment that kind of happened to me. Christine knows. I'm not going
This
to
is funny.
focus on killing off that resistance. I'm going to focus on visualizing how I want it to go. And once the resistance does come up, I say, all right, cool. And then still visualize what I want. It's literally just, all right,
But
cool. Go ahead, Justin.
you might have resistance when you get with the manifestation in hand. So
Yeah, exactly.
you don't want to like try to hunt it all down, and
Right.
because then you're actually not moving forward.
Exactly.
You're actually trying. I think we did a podcast on this. You're not moving forward. You're actually just like
Spinning your wheels.
you're basically spinning your wheels or going in circles.
Right.
You're not going anywhere.
Right.
Let
Exactly.
it come to
What do you
you.
mean?
I'm sorry?
What do you mean you're spinning your wheels?
Because you're trying to hunt down. You're just not going anywhere. You're trying to find all your resistance and destroy it.
Right.
And there's
I thought you were
no
talking
need
about.
to do that.
Right.
I thought you were talking about once you got the resistance. I mean, once you got the manifestation.
No. I mean,
No.
it can happen, no, but yeah, if you're just going on this resistance crusade where you're just trying to hunt it down, and
Right.
I've done this when I was doing the Sedona method a lot, where I would just because they encourage you to sort of okay, take your desire and you know go into the resistance and look for every little thing that's blocking it and clean that all out. It's great. It's a really clear, cleansing process, but it doesn't help you with your manifestation at all. It really does. I never got anything from it. I don't think, So it doesn't work. It's just going to kind of grow right back because you're focusing on resistance, so you're going to get resistance. But you want to. I'm going to give a quick example. I'm going to insert it right here. I want to talk about this. So I had Justin, you'll laugh at me probably. I had a negative manifestation come up recently, what happens on occasion. I don't even remember what the cause was, but I know I had some fear and worry going on. And so I got this, I ordered, because I wanted to get a voiceover for my new podcast, right? The Unseen World podcast. And it's a wonderful voiceover. I love it. Did you like the intro, Justin? I sent it to you.
Yeah,
I loved it.
sure did.
Yeah. So anyway, so I paid. Well, I went to pay for this voiceover. Because I went on Fiverr to this lady was offering doing a voiceover, and she was very very nice. And I tried to pay for it. Somehow, just basically got double charged. Okay, so I emailed them. Not the lady, but I emailed Fiverr. If you don't know, Fiverr is a place you can get a whole bunch of different things done by different vendors. So I email Fiverr and say, hey, I got double charged for this. And basically, for about over a week, we went in circles and circles and circles and circles and circles. And they just didn't believe me. They kept closing the ticket and saying, we can't see it. We see that you paid for this order and that's it. And I'm like, look, I got double charged. I have 2 transactions, And so finally, I thought, okay, I'm doing this all the wrong way. So I went inside myself and I just visualized the way I wanted to go, wanted it to go. I said, this is going to get resolved. And felt the feeling of that resolution and then let it go. And within a day, it was refunded. The extra charge was refunded. So that's what I'm talking about with this, that you don't want to, if I went out and hunted that resistance, why is this happening to me? I'm going to hunt down all the resistance that's causing it. It would still be happening right now. But I just went, you have to be not even solution oriented, because that's sort of focusing on the problem indirectly, creation oriented, where you focus on what you want to happen, and then it does happen, or resistance will come up and that's okay, and you work through that, But it will happen very quickly if you just visualize what you want, feel good about it, feel the positive emotions, let them go. Do that every day if you have. I only had to do it once, but do it every day if you have to, and it will come. It will happen. But you can't be expecting all this resistance and trying to look for it. It just doesn't work that way. So that's a very, very subtle thing, I know, but you have to be willing to focus more on the thing that you want more than the resistance and trying to cut that all out and uproot that.
Everybody gets caught up in it sometimes.
Oh, yeah, everyone does. What, Fran?
I just wanted to say, this is so strange that you mentioned Fiverr. Last year, I got double charged by them, too.
Did you? Was it hard to resolve? Was it hard to resolve?
Actually, not as much as you, no.
Oh, that's good.
Couple days. And I can't honestly remember all the details.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a real, sticky thing. They were actually rather helpful, and I think I might have threatened them. I mean, I don't mean threaten.
Yeah.
I think I just might have gotten a little tough with them.
Well, look, that's okay.
Because they started.
Oh, Brandon
they started
too.
to do. Yeah, they started to do what they were doing with you.
Right.
And I said, no, this is not going to work.
What I did, I said, look, you've been running me around for a week. This is after my visualization. I said, you've been running me around for a week. I'm giving you one final chance, or I'm disputing it with PayPal, because I'm not, I said, I'm trying not to get frustrated, because, it happens. But if this isn't resolved, I'm going to dispute it with PayPal. I'm giving you one more chance. And here are all the details, just so there's not cross lines and, cross lines of communication. Here are all the details of everything. Here are my transaction IDs, the order numbers, my PayPal address,
me too.
Last four of my credit card, whatever. And here's what happened. And within a day, they're like, oh, yeah, we see it. And we refunded it. Like, it's about time.
Yeah, I did something like that, only I did it sooner. Yeah. I said something to the effect of passive-aggressive, I don't want to have to do this, but I will.
I wasn't passive-aggressive at all. It was like,
well, I guess it's not.
I'm going through this.
I mean, it was a business transaction, and they were not being business-like.
Right.
So I didn't feel, bad about doing that at all. Yeah, I got an immediate reaction,
sure. Well,
and everything was smoothed down.
Sometimes as spiritual people, we get afraid of sort of, biting back a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
oh no, I'm not afraid of that.
Oh no,
I don't mind doing it.
Yeah,
you have to.
You have to sometimes. You have,
Yeah. Sometimes you have to just get tough.
Yeah.
You have to stick up for yourself.
Pretty much stay that way.
Right.
The other thing I just wanted to bring up real quick about resistance,
right.
And maybe, I guess it would involve. It was a positive thing. Just the other day, I have an old microwave, and I don't cook really, so that's like my everything. And it was gradually getting worse. And I knew it was going to go sooner or later, but I wasn't really too worried. I wasn't really freaking out about it or anything. And so finally, the other 2 nights ago, it gave up the ghost, as they
Mm-hmm.
say, so to speak. And maybe I shouldn't have said
Yeah.
Gave up the ghost.
that to a witch. Um,
Seeing the unseen.
yeah, that's right. That's right. And now, normally, this I felt that this was a big advance for me, and even from what I told you about my vacuum cleaner before,
Right.
about not getting upset and then
Right.
having it, yeah. So I just said, okay. I tried to get it to work, but I wasn't freaking out. I wasn't slamming it around. I wasn't going, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Right.
Because I didn't really have enough pots
Right.
to start cooking that way. And I don't know what happened, but when I thought about it later, I realized this is really the way that things seem to go well for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's what something closes down where I go into another place
Right.
because all of a sudden, without thinking, without anything, I picked up the phone, I called my neighbors, and I said, just very straightforward, I said, my microwave just blew out. Do you have a pot I can borrow? Now that doesn't sound like a big deal,
Right.
but he immediately came over with this brand new looking pot
Nice.
with a top on it and said, keep it. We want you to keep it.
Aw.
It'll be fine. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I don't, this is, and he goes, no, just keep it.
Right.
We really want you to keep it. And he left. And so then I had this brand new pot.
That's great.
And
That's great.
it was this all happened within a half hour
Mm-hmm.
of the microwave breaking. It was like the microwave broke, and then I had the pot that I needed.
Yep.
And there was absolutely there was no resistance. It was like I might have been, maybe I was being guided because I do not recall, like making any decisions to do this or that. It's
Right.
just like
It's happened.
I found myself doing things, picking up phone, calling them, not even thinking, wow, I'm asking these people for a pot,
Sure. Sure.
and just the whole way it happened.
Right.
And then I had this pot, and I thought that was a really good manifestation
Right.
because now I'm not even worried about the microwave when I'm going to get it. I know I'll get it when I get it. And I'm able to use that pot and some of the other pots I have and just do stove pot top cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, I'm not exactly, I've been depending on that microwave for a long time. But I don't at all feel, I don't know. It seems like in the past I might have felt really upset.
Sure.
And this is the kind of thing in the past that the way I used to react, which was
Right.
good. It was like something would happen, it was no big deal. I just took care of it.
Right.
But it wasn't like I decided to take care of it. It was like
It happened.
I just didn't I didn't get upset,
That's so
and
cool.
then something would just sort of take over, and I would do, and maybe that's intuition,
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
because
Yeah, that was it.
I don't think I would have picked up the phone
No.
if I didn't think that, I should have been calling
Well,
them.
sometimes in situations of stress, of high stress like that, the subconscious will kind of take over because your conscious mind shuts down because it's like, I don't know what to do. Forget it. So your subconscious, your super conscious, everything kind of takes over and just does what needs to be done, and it's taken care of, right? So that happens. That's very common. Everyone there, did you get disconnected? Hopefully, don't tell me I disconnected. Just haven't happened for a while.
Me
Oh,
kind of came out the way I used to handle things,
Right.
where I just sort of handled it, and I didn't really quite, and it usually turned out by default to be the right decision. And I'm thinking maybe that session, maybe, my reading more about intuition and all that
Right,
kind of
right.
stuff, maybe that kind of, maybe it's coming back or something.
Sure.
I don't know. It just was very refreshing, and
Yeah.
to all of a sudden see that within a half hour I had a resolution, at least for now, you know, and I'm totally relaxed about it,
That's
you
awesome.
know.
I do want to make sure. I feel like I kind of left a thread.
Sorry.
No, Ruma, I want to make sure your question was answered before we go on anywhere else because we kind of left that behind. I think I know we did answered at length, but did you have any follow ups to that?
No, no, I didn't have any.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that helps because I don't want to leave anything undone or anything. um, I'm sorry, I got cut off for a second while you were talking, friend. I don't know if my response was heard before. I was trying to say sometimes the in situations of high stress, the conscious mind will kind of shut down, and the subconscious slash superconscious will sort of take over and take care of
Hmm.
things because conscious mind is sort of like I'm just done. I can't handle it, and that happens. So I don't know if I got disconnected for a second somehow.
Oh, well, but it didn't even really feel that stressed. And
Right.
that was the other good thing
Well,
about
that's
it, is that
good.
I didn't make it into a big drama,
Right.
you
Right. Right.
know. So
Right.
anyway, just wanted to
No,
That's really
that's
show
cool.
extreme.
you
That's
that.
very very good.
It's
That's
really
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, I know it sounds kind of sounds stupid, doesn't it?
No.
Microwave,
No,
and I got a pot.
No,
I mean, big deal, but for me
you
it was a big
needed it,
deal.
but for you it was huge.
Right. Exactly.
And you got
just
what you
for you,
needed.
you needed it.
Right.
That was a really good story, Fran. It actually brought it to mind that like I'd had a similar situation where I didn't get bent out of shape about it.
Right.
Got charged a late fee for
Oh no.
it's something that was due on the 25th of December, and obviously the banks don't pay it. So
Right.
then
Hmm.
the next email I got said, you are now being charged a $20 late fee. And
Right.
instead of what I normally do would be get really bent out of shape, I just wrote it in my diary that I was going to deal with it later. And before
Right.
I even ended up talking to them, they actually sent me another email and said, oh, apologise, we've made a mistake, this is all clear. And I didn't even talk to them.
Awesome.
All I did was
Yeah,
write it in the diary. That's so
that's
cool.
great. Yeah, that just
Yeah,
resolved
PK.
itself.
Hmm.
Is it PK? Is that you?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
PK.
that's awesome. Yeah, so that just sort of resolved itself. That happens a lot. I've had that happen. And just sort of if you don't react to it, if you don't freak out about it, it'll just sort of handle itself, right?
Yeah.
You don't want
Well,
to.
that's what's so good
Yeah.
about Fred's story.
Right? Yeah, that happens a lot. That's it's so cool. And like I said, the subconscious mind is a great thing. I mean, it's so powerful that if you have a, like we said earlier, I can't afford it story, it will absolutely carry that out and very, very well. If you have a everything's going to work out story, which is one of my main stories
Mhm.
I've had active my whole
Mhm.
life, it will.
Right.
For me, I've always, always, always had a story that says everything will work out. And I've,
Yeah, I have an affirmation on my door that says things always work out for me.
right. And that's always been a story in my subconscious, and it always has. I've had situations where I mean it's become really, really close, and everything's just always worked out. And
Mhm.
that's one of the big reasons I believe in the law of attraction because I know for other people that's not true because they don't have that story, you know. But for me, everything has always worked out just because for some reason I either my childhood environment or whatever it was, I always had that story, and so everything always did work out. So it's a wonderful thing, the subconscious mind, when it when it when it does that. It makes everything just work out perfectly
Mhm.
in amazing ways, right? So that's
It
amazing.
does.
Yeah. Other questions? We have about 18, 17, 18 minutes
Wow,
left.
already?
I know, right? This is an awesome call today.
Did someone say on the line the last call that we had that they did reading? Like,
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What happened?
Did someone say that they did reading? Like, um,
Oh, like intuitive readings? Are you? What do you?
Readings.
right. Or was
On
it
the last
psychic reading?
coaching call?
Yeah, Justin and I both do readings.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we offer intuitive readings on co-creation coaching on the website. Um,
Yep.
yeah, so it's if you go to the website co-creationcoaching.org, there's a menu item that's called readings, and we actually offer two types of readings: Akashic readings, which is for discovering your past lives, and then regular intuitive readings, where we'll use intuition, sometimes paired with the divination method, to read whatever question you might have about your life. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's an option.
Absolutely.
Did you have a question about that, or were you just wondering about if that was offered?
Well, no, I just was wondering if that was
Oh,
offered.
yeah, definitely.
What's
Uh,
offered?
yeah, I actually just did one today. It was a lot of fun. It
Oh,
was, yeah. I love doing them because they flow. It's like they Justin. I don't know if you get this,
We get.
but before what's that?
Which one
Which
did you get?
I got an email intuitive reading today.
Yeah. I can't wait to see one of those.
I know. Poor Justin's waiting, but whatchamacallit? A lot of times I'll get a question, and my intuition will immediately kind of respond to the question, and then I'll do the tarot, and it'll back up that answer. And it's always so amazing when that happens. It's so cool to see everything kind of working together like that, and the tarot agreeing with my initial feeling on the situation. I love when that happens. So it's really fun to. That's one of my favorite things to do, intuitive readings. Um, other questions that people might have. So and interrupt me if you do. I wanted to talk about. Let's see. I actually had a few things to talk about. We talked about that. So I wanted to talk about going with the flow of your energy, basically. Um, I recently discussed. Do you remember those who've read the blog posts? Um, the resistance release cycle of creation, the two parts of that cycle. So you have the part of the cycle where you're really building up to the next level, like the magical path, so to speak, and then you have the release part of the cycle, right, where it's you're stabilizing at that new level. And so I've been realizing recently the importance of following your energy when it comes to that, because I said at the end of December, because I spent 3 months in a huge upward trend in my creation cycle, in the magical path. And then I said, well, do you remember this, Justin? I feel like it's sort of time to take a break from that
Yes.
and sort of let things stabilize. Well, I
Uh
did.
huh.
I did that, and I'm still doing that to some extent. But then I made this decision, and it sort of just happened. I had been setting this intention for a few months to move away. You remember when I transferred the website, to move away from my previous host, because there just wasn't enough flexibility. My previous web host, because there wasn't enough flexibility. I couldn't do the things I wanted to do, and I just wasn't.
Mhm.
I wanted a better option, and I felt like there should be a better option. And so it was at the end of December that manifested itself. And I think a lot of the reason that did manifest itself is because I entered the release mode, where I kind of stopped deliberately intending things, and everything sort of started catching up. Um, so I made that decision to, move to that next level as far as my website was concerned, co-creation coaching. And I found a better option. I found a new host. I got a whole bunch of new things for the website, and it's been very much a new upward trend. But the thing that happened to me was I didn't realize it was a new upward trend. I didn't realize it was a new part of the cycle. I had let go for a couple of weeks, and then I didn't realize my energy was naturally wanting to move up in this new way, like making this site better and that kind of stuff. And I was trying to keep it in this release mode. I was trying to keep it where I wouldn't intend, I wouldn't try to do anything. But I was just getting crushed with this resistance because one part of me was focusing on um, this new goal to have a better website and all that kind of stuff, and the other part of me is trying to stay where I currently was and not focus on things. So
You got to go with the flow, man.
you got to go with the flow. And that's a lot of the reason why that thing happened with Fiverr, why I was double charged, because I just didn't go with the flow of, okay, I was in the release mode for a very short time, but my desire drove me to this new cycle of creation where now, I'm going to the next level as far as my business is concerned. So I just wanted to reiterate the important, sometimes the release mode will last 2 days, sometimes it'll last a week, sometimes it'll last 6 months. But you have to recognize the signs of where your energy is flowing. So if you're feeling restless, if you're feeling like I need something else, I need the next level of manifestation, that's in the creation part, or the resistance or the magical path or whatever you want to call it, upward trend. We're building up, you're climbing up to the next level. If your energy is more wanting to rest and wanting to, is saying, I'm good where I am for now, things are pretty good, um, let's sort of get used to where we are. That's the release mode. So, you have to kind of acknowledge the signs of that. And I think if I would have stayed where I was as far as hosting, kept the website where it was, I probably would have stayed in the release mode a little while longer. But, the strength of that desire to find a better solution kind of won out over, wanting to be in that release mode. And that's what happens. So it's because if you're trying to stay in one part of the cycle when your energy is trying to move towards another part, that is going to trigger a lot of resistance, and that's what happened to me. So I sort of wanted to discuss that because it's really important to acknowledge where you are in the cycle and flow with it.
Sometimes if you've been doing, one thing for 3 or 4 months,
Yeah.
and I've done this, if you just decide to manifest something totally different,
Yes.
that channel won't be, worn out. So you can still go ahead and be on the Magus path for that one thing, but rest
Right.
your thing you were
Energy on
doing for
another.
3 months.
Right. And that's, I think, what kind of happened with me, because my cycle was for the financial goals that I had, right? I had these big financial goals and I was meeting them every month after month after month. And then I kind of felt like, okay, well, that's good for now. And then, once I let go, these other manifestations came through, like the hosting and all this other stuff, and getting our podcast back up and all that kind of stuff. So now I'm kind of in the cycle of improving the website and making new changes and all that, and that's sort of going on. So yeah, it's sort of a give and take, I think. It's not always just either or. It's sort of, okay, one part of life is at a rest, another part of life is you know, building up that tension, but you always sort of have to follow wherever the energy is flowing. Have you experienced that, Justin?
No, that was pretty much it. That was what I was saying. You go with the flow.
Yeah.
If you're aligned with a certain thing and your spirit tells you to do something, go on and do it.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely important to pay attention to that. So, any final questions about? We had a lot of awesome discussions
It was
today.
awesome today, yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
we have 7 minutes remaining. But any final questions or comments or anything else, clarifications on the things we discussed today, or anything else totally new either is fine. Anything else?
I have a question. How do
Yeah.
I set up like to have a reading, an intuition
I'm sorry. How do you what?
reading?
Oh, how do you what?
I think it was you or Jason that was saying like you guys did the intuition reading.
Yes.
Yes.
How do I set that up? Like how do I?
How do you sign up? if you go to co-creationcoaching.org/readings, so if you go on the website and if you click
Mhm.
on the top menu, there's a readings link, and if you click
Mhm.
that, you'll get the option of either Akashic reading or intuitive reading. So click one of those, and that's where you can sign up. It'll give you the option of signing up for one of the readings, and you can, depending on the type of reading you choose, you can choose who you want to be your reader, or you can just have it randomly choose. But so if you go to the website and click readings, then you can follow through from there. Do you want like a regular intuitive or an Akashic reading?
I've never heard of a casket reading.
Akashic, that's sort of like your past lives, where you've been in the past. But if you just, it sounds like you just want a regular intuitive reading. Um,
Oh,
you're you're connected on the phone right now, so I can't really send you the link. I could always email it to you if you give me your email. But um, if you just go to the website, click readings, and then click intuitive readings, it'll give you. We have by the phone, by email, or by chat are the three options you have, and you can choose length of the reading and number of questions and stuff like that. And that's how you do it.
okay.
Does that clear it up? Awesome.
Can you record those, Brandon?
Yes. So for the phone readings, they are always recorded. Email readings, you obviously already have the email, so it's, and then
Yeah.
chat readings, you get sent a transcript. So no matter what form you choose, same goes for my coaching. Everything we do, you always get either a recording or a transcript based on, if it's audio or text based. But you'll always get either a recording or a transcript that is sent to you after the fact.
I find often with those readings that if you sometimes you don't pick up on something when you first hear it,
Right.
or
Yeah.
you give it a meaning for something that's happening at the time. And then if you look at it later, if you read it over, 3 months down the track, you
Yeah.
suddenly think, oh, that's what that meant. It wasn't
Exactly.
anything to do with the beach. It was
Yeah.
actually about the supermarket.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. I've had that happen. Yeah. People will email me later, much later on, and say, "Oh, I didn't get that part of the reading until this thing just happened." I'm like, "Oh, that's really cool." I love hearing those things. So yeah,
yeah.
that's definitely. But yeah, I believe in, I always record unless someone specifically says, "Please don't record this," or "I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to download it, so don't worry about it." But otherwise, by default, we'll record it, or do the transcript if it's text based. So that's definitely always there. So anything
Is it,
else? Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Ruma.
because I was just looking at the website. Is it same day like request? Like if I wanted to do it today, or is
Are you what are you looking for? Phone, email, or chat? Which medium are you wanting to go through?
over the phone?
Over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So well, it depends on when you schedule it. Um,
Okay.
if you Justin does the phone, so I think if he has a few hours available, but if you specify, even if you email one of us, go through the contact form and say what time you would like to have it or what day,
Mm-hmm.
we can set up a time that way too, and then you can schedule it. But
Mhm.
so that's, if you specify what time works for you, we can definitely make that available and work with you on that. So we're flexible with it.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, go maybe either go through the contact form or whatever, and let us know. I think Justin, you're available on usually Wednesdays, aren't you?
So I was going to do tomorrow
Yeah, that's what
3:10.
3 to 10.
But you and I had that podcast tomorrow,
Well, we'll
and
do
then
yeah, we'll do that early if we
so we
can.
know, yeah, definitely. And then we can work with her.
Well, let me see if
It wouldn't matter.
I can make tomorrow available real quick. Sorry, Christine, we can voice over for a
I
second.
don't care.
But I can make tomorrow available real quick, and then you'll be good to schedule. Let's see. Tomorrow is the 18th, correct? Correct.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
it's it's Wednesday afternoon here already.
Oh yeah, it is, huh? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna do 3 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Shows
Okay,
your time has no meaning.
I know.
Are you in
Okay,
New Zealand?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's so funny. Our voiceover artist who did our podcast is from New Zealand, so that's really cool. It's a
Oh,
really cool coincidence.
yeah. I
At
probably
first,
don't know them.
probably not. No, but at first I'm like, did she refer someone to us? Like, it's just a really cool coincidence. Um, so
It's funny because my daughter is in London and she's just had a baby. And I was talking to one of her friends, and the friend said, "Oh, I know someone that's in New Zealand. Her name's Karen, and the surname.
yeah.
Do you know her?" And I'm thinking, "Oh, there's only about 4 million
Oh yeah, no,
people, and
no, I wasn't saying you know her. I just saying it's a coincidence. I know you didn't know her.
yeah, I don't know." But I'm saying I've just recently had that. I've just
Right, that's
recently
funny.
had one think that.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Room, I opened up tomorrow evening. Well, tomorrow from 3 to 10 Eastern. So if that's a time that works for you, that's what we have open right now. So for phone readings. So if you schedule
That
something
gonna
at that
work
time,
for you?
we will.
Yes.
Awesome. So then we'll make that work. So yeah, but no, I thought she had referred you, PK. That's why I was like, oh, that's a really cool coincidence, because because she did my
Oh
voiceover
no.
and I showed her the podcast. What's
Oh,
that, Ruma? I'm sorry,
did you say do I prefer someone?
I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
I was trying to see. Did you say that I prefer someone or?
Oh, prefer someone. Yeah, you can choose. You mean for the reading?
I don't know. Maybe I heard
yes.
it wrong.
You mean like who you want to do the reading?
Right.
Right. The phone readings are done by Justin, and then we both do email readings, and then I do chat readings. I don't like doing readings over the phone because I like to take my time with them. Um,
Oh, okay.
but Justin will do, and he's very, very good, though. He's extremely good at them. So he does the phone readings. When you get the who you prefer is when you do do an email reading is you can choose, okay, I want either Brandon or Justin, or just choose randomly. That's an
Okay.
option. But for phone is always Justin. Chat is always me. So that's how I split it up. It works because I don't like doing readings over the phone. It feels rushed to me. I like to take my time and sort of sit with the cards and too much pressure over the phone. So that's more Justin's thing. Justin can have the pressure.
I just talk spirit, man. I don't
That works. Yeah.
conduit.
And it depends on the person. Some people are so closed down that it's like it really takes a lot of digging to get to their energy. The person I read today was so open. It was like I knew right away what the answer was. I didn't even need the cards, but I just did it to kind of clarify. I didn't even really need them. My
Yeah.
intuition was so loud and clear with this person today. But sometimes you just never know. It's like they're really shut down or on guard, and you really have to work to get to their energy. It's kind of hard. So I like to have time to
Mhm.
sit with it and let the energy work through that kind of thing. So, Ruma, do you have other questions about that we can answer before we end? And it's no problem at all.
No.
Okay,
No question.
awesome. So yeah, so if hopefully one of those times works for you, and let me know after the fact if you have other questions. You can email me or anything else, and I'll be happy to answer. So, well, I thank everyone for joining us today. This is an awesome, awesome call. I appreciate all the new
It
people
was
who
fun.
showed up today, and I'll have the recording available probably definitely tomorrow because it takes a while to process. So, but if you have any other questions, feel free to show up next week or it's always the blog posts. So hope everyone has a wonderful week, though.
All right.
Bye.
Brandon.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
Brandon.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey,
Bye.
Brandon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Brandon.
Yeah, Justin.
Were we gonna do the quiz?
Yeah, we can. I'll have to call you separately, so it's not on the recording.
Okay. Oh, okay
Okay.
then.
Yep. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.